Hey guys, it's me, Kelly. So today's video that I'm doing is my pet peeves video. I decided I wanted to share to you guys what my pet peeves are. I don't know why, but let's get on with the video. So the first kind of couple are going to be like school related because there's a lot of things at my school that piss me off or irritate me. So first pet peeve would be people in the hallways and they just stop in the middle, or they decide they want to turn around, something where it's disrupting my walking to my class. So for example, like let's say if I'm walking to class, suddenly these people in front of me stop and start talking to each other. It's like, can you not? Can you move over to the side, go by the lockers, somewhere where you're not in people's way? Because in reality, you wouldn't just stop your car in the middle of a highway to talk on the phone. I'm sorry, it just irritates me. So like, public service announcement, please don't stop in the middle of the hallway. Another thing is, please don't just say, I think I'm gonna turn right around right here. Same thing with the driving reference. You don't just randomly turn around on a highway. No, you look for a space and you jump in it and then you turn around. You don't just go right into me. Like, okay, I know I'm small, but you don't have to freaking pretend I'm not here or acknowledge other people. Like, come on, like, jeez. Another pet peeve of mine is at school, it's kind of like with the walking thing, is when you get behind a slow walker and there's like a million feet in front of them. It's like, why aren't you walking fast? Like, there's so much space. It's like, and they're just walking like they're in a funeral. Like, I understand school is that boring and stupid basically, but please, some people need to get to their class, okay? Okay. Also, not just in school, like, I go to baseball games and people walk so slow, or they waddle, or they like don't look where they're going, and I'm like, freaking keep your eyes on the road and go like a certain speed. So I'm just gonna go around you because you're going way too slow for me. I don't know, my pet peeves. Another thing in school that pisses me off is when the teacher says something and then like a few seconds or even minutes later a kid asks, when is this due? When the teacher just said when it was due. So she has to repeat herself, or he has to repeat himself. It just irritates me. It's like, why don't you listen the first time? Then this wouldn't have happened. Like, oh, this project's gonna be due next Monday. 2 minutes later, when is this project due? She said Monday, like next Monday. Like, come on, please listen so I don't have to waste my time hearing the same thing over and over again. Another thing that pisses me off is when someone tells you to be quiet and it's repeatedly told you need to be quiet and you just continue talking. That's just extremely rude to me. It's like, your teacher, or like, let's say this happens in one of my classes, says, hey, be quiet, I'm trying to talk, or whatever. But they just continue on with their conversation, or they just smile and they're like, okay. It's just like, listen to your teacher. Don't be your asshole. Freaking shut up. Continue your conversation later. People irritate me at school, if you couldn't tell. So yeah, that's some of the like schooly pet peeves that I have. And now just pet peeves in general. One pet peeve that I have is when people are driving and they don't use a turn signal. And then it gets me really angry because then I'm like, how was I supposed to know you were gonna turn? So thanks. Or if they do it like mid-turn, it's like, okay, what's the point of that? You're already turning, so like, that's no use to put your signal on. Like, ugh. Another driving or like road one would have to be when drivers are at a red light, but they just like don't have their foot on the brake, so they're slowly going until it turns green and then they hit the gas, and it's just like, it's a red light. You stop at a red light. You do not like put your foot off the brake and just gently roll into traffic. No, no, you stop. Red means stop. Like, is it just me, or drivers these days are just have horrible road rage and they're just terrible driving? I'm not saying like I'm the best driver, but I'm just saying there's a lot of stupid people on the road. in my opinion. I'm not gonna say everyone's a stupid person because that's generalizing. I'm just gonna say there is a lot of people who don't know how to drive, and it irritates me because, like, how do you get your license? How is there not a cop pulling you over? Like, you're risking my life. Okay, so this is one that I realized that I had kind of like yesterday because I was at a Twins game yesterday, or a baseball game. It's when there's a bunch of open seats and people decide to sit right in front of you. It's kind of like what happens at the movies, just anywhere where there's like seating for like a show or something. So like I was at a baseball game and I was like with my parents and there's no one in front of us, no one next to us, everything, right? But these people decided to sit right in front of us. It's like, there's no one behind us, there's no one way down there, we're like, why right in front of us? Like, are you that much of an asshole where you're like, hey, let's sit in front of these people so they can't see, but we can see because we're assholes? Like, what? Another thing that pisses me off at baseball games, if we're on this topic, is when people pay for like the nosebleed seats for like $9, and while me and my parents, we have season tickets and they're like $30, and they come and sit down where there's empty seats. It's like, how does that work? You paid $9 but you're sitting in $30 seats. Like, please, like, that's so not fair. So why don't I get $9 seats and then walk down here? But when I do that, I probably would get caught. So many people do that and they just sit down and they're like, wow, I like these seats. Yeah, but you didn't pay for them, so I don't know. That's a pet peeve of mine. Okay, another pet peeve is when you're like talking to your friend or family member, just talking to someone, and then you're like telling a story, and then suddenly when you're saying something about that story, it reminds them of something, so they just overlap you and start talking. So like, you're like, oh my gosh, remember that time when we went to McDonald's? Oh my god, my mom loves McDonald's. And you're just like sitting there like, oh, I wasn't done talking, and they're just like, blah, 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 McDonald's, blah, blah. And you're just there like, can I just finish my story, please? And they're like, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I'm done. So what were you saying? And then you continue, and then it reminds them of something else, and it's just a never-ending cycle. And yes, I used my hands as puppets. I need to stop. Anyway, that's something that irritates me so much. It's just like, you can wait, let me finish my story, please, and then you can go. I'm not trying to be mean, like saying, oh, my story is better. No, I was talking first. I'll let you talk after. It's kind of rude when you just interrupt me. Okay, another thing, I don't know how many pet peeves I have. I'm just kind of listing off some pet peeves that I have, so yeah. This one is when people like look over your shoulder or something like that. And what I mean by that is like, if you're reading like a text and you're on your phone, for example, like you're on your phone and you're texting, and then someone's like looking over your shoulder like, oh, who's so-and-so? And you're like, where the hell did you come from? Like, get the heck out of here. Or even, okay, this one bothers me so much, is when I'm on my computer and like my parents or just someone is like over my shoulder like, oh, you click that. It's like, don't freaking do that. Just tell me, or I know what I'm doing. Like, if I don't, then I'll turn to you and be like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. Can you point out what to do? But don't just be like, oh, that thing, right over my shoulder. Like, so what you doing? I don't know. I don't like people looking over my shoulder. It's like, can you not do that, please? So, pet peeve. Okay, so I have a lot more, but the last one that I'm gonna share is people who talk super loud in public. And I count school as a public place because there's like a lot of people, even though they're just like students, but still it's a lot of people, it's public, and you don't need to scream at your friend when they're right next to you and everyone else doesn't want to hear your conversation. Same thing if you're on the phone and or even like Bluetooth or whatever and you're just yelling. We don't need to know what you're talking about with that person. Can you like talk a little bit quieter, or can you just like go out into the hall or do something? Like for phone wise, like you don't need to be screaming at your phone unless you can't hear them. Turn up your volume, do something, like use headphones. I don't know, but just communication without a phone, like just talking person to person, and you're screaming at them when they're right next to you. One, no one wants to hear your conversation. Two, it's hurting people's ears and it's kind of annoying. That's three, it's annoying. Like, shh. You don't have to be whispering like it's a library, but you can talk at a reasonably talking level like I am right now. I'm not screaming, I'm just talking at a medium tone, volume, like indoors. You know when you were little and you were taught indoors voice and outdoors voice? Well, use it because some people in classes are really loud and they're just screaming to their friend who's really like 2 feet away. It's like they're not across the freaking planet. Okay guys, that was my pet peeves video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And also, comment below some pet peeves you have. And also, if I should make another pet peeves video sometime in the future or so, make sure you comment that below. And also, make sure you subscribe. I post videos every Saturday, so it gives you something to do on the weekend. Unless you don't watch me on the weekend, then it gives you something to do. So, that's about it. Thanks for watching. Bye!